stream. Bear with me for 1 second while I get set up. I've got some resources here. I have lifetime access now to an app on my phone, which is going to be tremendously useful on this channel. This was definitely something that I had to do, because although I did, looking around, I've played this before. Some of the models are not 1-to-1, but it's good enough for most of what I intend to do. But bear with me just 1 moment. I'm gonna get monetization run. Do automatic with a medium frequency. Okay, so we're not going to be going too long since I don't have much to play with here. As well, I would like to be able to share the videos that I have as well, because I use my phone to record some videos of it, which would be really tremendous in showing you what's going on. But at the moment, I still have to get these parts put together into a model that I hand produce here in the program. For now, I haven't started that. I've been digging up the resources on this. Give me like a week, maybe two. I'll have this touched up and drafted well enough that it actually works. But for starters, we're just going to go to the basics, given what we already know. I'm sure most of you guys have seen my 3-round burst video, which explains the M16 or the M4 3-round burst mechanism. And if you look at this, you'll see kind of a similar shape. So automatically, you're going to be knowing that we're not really deviating too far from the way the M16 or the M4's burst mechanism works. In fact, it's pretty much the same principle, but the way the trigger mechanism itself is oriented and how the sears and disconnectors all line up is a little bit different. But you see, instead of... So, going off of what we learned from the 3-round burst tutorial, you have shallow notches and deep notches, right? So this is one of your deep notches. Notice you've got 3. This is a 2-round burst cam, right? So it's always indexing from one notch to the next with every shot. So on a deep notch, your disconnector is going to drop into that notch deep enough to catch your hammer. So this is your sear engagement portion of the hammer. What's cool about the Kriss Vector is it's actually got the trigger mechanism oriented upside down over the action, which does a couple things. It reduces the complexity below the bolt, meaning that the magazine well is a pretty simple... I don't know, it looks a lot cleaner from the bottom than some other firearms do, where you have both the mag well, your magazine release, bolt catches, as well as your trigger mechanisms. This gets stuffed on top, so I'll show you a frame where you kind of see it's like this. This is your trigger mechanism into a block, and this gets inserted into the top of the receiver. There's your hammer, there's your trigger. You pull back on the trigger, and the hammer drops. Depending on your firing mode, it's a single shot, a 2-round burst, or continuous full auto until you let go. These are your 2 semi-auto and 2-round burst disconnectors. The tab that you see here, you'll notice that it's behind the slot for the pin that these rotate on. And what that does is you push down on it. So I'll actually show you a better perspective that shows this in situ, right? So you go here. These are your sears. You have your auto sear, your semi-auto sear, your burst sear. No, actually, sorry, this is backwards. So there's your full auto sear, semi-auto, burst, and in between the burst and the semi-auto sear is your primary sear, what the trigger moves. And that's this guy right here. You see the sear engagement here catches on the hammer, and the trigger, which is this guy, has a pin that slots through here and pulls on this piece. So you're pulling on this, there's a ramped portion here. It's going to tug it down, rotating it around this pin. So this comes down and the front end comes up, which gets it disengaging the hammer, right? So imagine that piece slots into here. It lifts up, gets out of the way of the hammer. And then these, because they no longer have pressure on them from the primary sear, fall into place to catch the hammer when it gets cocked again. Now, what determines your firing mode is just a standard selector axle that sits right over top of the, so if I get the right perspective right here. So this right here is your selector axle. So you have your sears in here, and this presents material that either forces disengagement of one or both of the disconnectors, right? So in full auto, both of the disconnectors are disengaged. In semi-auto, only the burst disconnector is disengaged. Actually, they don't even need to touch it. They can let it be. It's not necessary to disengage it because the primary, the semi-auto is going to catch it every time anyway. And for burst, all you do is disable the semi-auto sear. The auto sear is necessary to obviously keep the hammer held while the bolt is cycling. Otherwise, the hammer is just going to ride the bolt around. But you'll see here, there's a cut. There's a weird shape here that the I'm sure you know the Kriss Vector has this block right here that slides up and down, and that helps mitigate the recoil, or at least drive the recoil downwards on the backstroke. It still tends to pop it back up when it goes into battery, but some people say it seems to shoot nicer as a result of this mechanism. Whether it's effective or not, or whether it's just a gimmick, I'm not going to say. My hunch is it does something. It's a trade-off. That's what I'm going to say, right? I've seen in 2-round bursts, you'll consistently get a shot grouping that looks kind of like this. 1 round here and 1 round high and right. Over and over, just like that. This is where your hold is, and brr, brr, brr. Almost inevitably, you can't hold or choke up on it to get it to stop doing that. So it doesn't make the recoil reduce your spray. It doesn't tighten the group up at all. It just mitigates the felt recoil, I guess. But yeah, this is your primary sear. Holds the hammer. You pull the trigger. It rotates out of the way. Hammer drops. Your secondary sear, so your disconnector, burst disconnector. You can call it either semi-sear, burst sear. They catch the hammer instead. And with these tabs, when you let go of the trigger, your primary sear drops back in, pushes down on these, getting them out of the way, dropping the hammer onto your primary sear. Your auto sear with this flat face here gets repeatedly struck by the slider, they call it in the program, the part that goes up and down that the bolt moves with. That actually presses up on that flat part right here, and that's what causes it to trip. So every time the bolt goes into battery, this auto sear, see, is gonna step out of the way of the hammer. So I don't have an animation to give you. I do have videos. I'm gonna post those after I finish here, but there's more coming with a better explanation. I just wanted to give you guys some accountability to say, hey, look, I am looking through resources and materials. I'm juggling a few things right now, but frankly, I'm with it. I can get on board with this. I'm tired of the 9 to 5 grind unless I have to. What's beneficial about YouTube is, provided I keep my monetization and don't piss off the wrong people, this would be a continuous source of income rather than work 5 hours, get 5 hours of pay. No, it's post a video and continue to earn revenue on it 10 years later, like my 3-round burst video. It ain't much. Right now, it ain't much. But if I keep pushing, I get more traction, I reach more people, put more interesting stuff out there, I'm sure it'll start being something that's noteworthy. And hey, income is income no matter what, right? Money is money. So I'm considering this an investment. And as well, it gives me an opportunity to continue to engage with the community I've got here on YouTube, the community I've got on Discord, which for those of you who are interested, if you want to get in on my Discord channel, we don't really do much as of yet, but there is discussion. We are talking about various trigger mechanisms. I did just get a 3D printer for Christmas that's going to be really helping me out with both my print speed and my print accuracy. It's a Bamboo Lab, which is basically runs itself. Really a proper consumer item. The one I had before that, the Anycubic Mega Zero, you kind of have to hold its hand a little bit, and there's a lot it can't do. This one, it's got a heated bed, got a heated chamber, it's an enclosed printer. The build volume is about the same, but the build plate is really good. It probes itself, trams its, like, I'm gonna shut up about my printer now. You guys get the gist, right? The balls are moving. We're not standing still, even if sometimes we do get into slow moving water. All right, little steps forward. But I've seen some people comment and ask about the Kriss Vector. Folks, I do see your comments. I promise. I check the comments. I won't say frequently, but I do go onto my analytics and see if there's comments that I haven't seen, because I know some of y'all will post something that doesn't show up on the primary YouTube, and I have to go into my studio to see them. I try to see everybody's stuff. If somebody requests something, if somebody has interest in something, I want to share it. Right? If I have the resources at hand, if you're interested, if you can't find this stuff yourself, brother, I want to help. And this stuff interests me. It's cool to me, so I want to share it with you. Anyways, that's it for today. I'm sorry I don't have any moving parts to show you, but I'm sure with a little bit of knowing, a little bit of understanding, you can get half of the way there. Until the next video's post, I will see you later. Merry Christmas, folks.